And I went home and I got out my book on Sacred Mountains of Asia and laid side by side this diagram from a 2nd century Chinese manuscript of Mount Meru, the axis of the gods, the ladder of the gods, the stairway to heaven, beside the pattern of the Bicentennial Capitol Mall, and they matched. I'm like, that's it right there. Now, why would they show this as an antenna? Well, the reason is because there's basically 4 takes on what the Holy Grail is. It's either a cup, a simple carpenter's cup, which 9 out of 10 people go along with that, so that gets rid of 9 out of 10 people.
Yeah.
The other ones look and say, well, I think it might in fact be a bloodline of Jesus and Mary Magdalene. That was popularized by the Da Vinci Code. The third take on what the Grail is that it's a stone, like Christ is referred to as a stone, a missing capstone or cornerstone, so on and so forth. But the fourth take on what the Grail is it's believed to be the key of life, a tone, a frequency, or a vibration that would be transmitted by an antenna-like device that looks like a magic wand or an antenna. And that's exactly what the Bicentennial Mall is.
So really, Jesus having the wand, anything connected to Jesus, that energy is transferred through the antenna.
Right, exactly. And what you have there at the Bicentennial Mall is just a beautiful example of Egyptian technology. It's a living temple made of trees, but when you get into the Court of 3 Stars, it's an altar. And the floor of that altar is made of red, white, and blue granite. The Egyptians used red granite as their altar stone because it's loaded with pure quartz crystal. In fact, when you're in the Court of 3 Stars, you can look in on a sunny day and you see the quartz glistening in the sunlight. They call red quartz, or red granite rather, an altar stone because it alters you. It holds whatever frequency or vibration is present there. So I've started taking people with crystal bowls down there, and chanters. It's like a CD, Tony. That Court of 3 Stars with that red granite and that crystal is recording everything that you feel and say when you're in that space. So what we're doing is intentionally creating a healing space in that place by recording healing tones and vibrations and chants. It's extraordinary, but that's pure Egyptian technology is what they're using.
So the
down
purpose is for healing, and what else?
Well, I mean, transformation. I mean, that's what I believe the purpose is.
Inner transformation?
Yeah, I mean, the official purpose of the Bicentennial Capitol Mall is to commemorate Tennessee's bicentennial and to provide an unobstructed view of the state capitol.
Yeah.
But what you have here is this magnificent temple that's laid out that if you can learn to walk it and connect with the energy there are 7 springs that run underneath that complex that are running energy through that place. Then you've got the stellar energy coming in as well.
Right.
And it's all focused on that Court of 3 Stars with that granite, just like a sponge soaking all this stuff up. And so that when you enter into that space, you can feel it. And then when you go stand on the iron rod that's drilled directly in the center of the Court of 3 Stars, and you make a sound out loud, you hear this reverberation, this echo. That point is one of the most profound places I've ever experienced, because what you find there at the mall is that each of the 7 energy centers of our body are perfectly marked there with appropriate symbolism. Our body literally is that wand, that magic wand. And in the examples that I show from early Christian art, when Jesus is raising Lazarus from the dead, he's got that magic wand in his hand and he's hitting him right here on the crown chakra. He's awakening his higher consciousness. And so when you enter the Court of 3 Stars, it corresponds on the body with, right there, the third eye.
Right, and he's always talking about the body being the temple. The new temple is not a physical structure, but it's your body.
Right. And so when you're standing on that iron rod in the Court of 3 Stars, you're standing literally on a point that corresponds with the pineal gland in the very center of our brain, third eye chakra, the seat of the soul. And it's not, in my opinion, by coincidence. I think there's something operating down there, and it's a really powerful and profound place. I've walked there with thousands of people over the years and continue to bring people from all over the world and say, hey, if you can't go to Egypt, you can't go to South America, France, UK, come to Nashville. We got 2 healing temples for you here, the Temple of Holy Wisdom and this incredible magic wand.
Now, the state capitol is a pretty amazing building. Have you found anything about it? Or
Lots of
studied it?
intriguing lore about that. Of course, it sits up on that artificially tiered mound. All
Mm-hmm.
kinds of wacky ideas about what's going on with that mound.
Yeah.
There was a Catholic church that sat there before the state capitol. Must have been a sacred Indian site before then.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, that whole base of the Capitol is sacred. There's an inscription at the Bicentennial Mall that tells you that this place was settled around 900 AD, which is probably pretty conservative, and that, in fact, it was a sacred burial ground. That inscription tells you that vast numbers of bodies were interred there. When, you know, I don't know what you think when somebody tells you vast numbers of bodies are buried around your state capitol, but it sounds like there's a lot of people.
Well, the Capitol's definitely haunted. I used to be a Tennessee State Capitol police officer.
You did?
In another life on
Wow.
third shift.
Uh-huh.
And you can hear voices in rooms, and when you open the door, it stops.
Wow.
You shut it back, you can hear. It's like a whole party going on inside. And
Wow.
footsteps going up and down the marble staircases, and a lot of the officers did report seeing apparitions. I didn't personally see any apparitions, but
Wow.
I know the guy who built the Capitol's buried in the wall. And there's
William Strickland, right?
There's another
Yeah.
person buried in there too, but I forget who they are.
Yeah, former president, I thought.
Andrew Johnson?
No, I can't remember. I don't want to say. But you know,
Polk? No.
it might be.
Yeah.
You know, you like to research a lot of ancient texts. Obviously, you refer to the lost
Yeah,
books and that
right.
kind of thing. And one of the key players in the ancient world was Enoch.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in the 1970s, there was a guy named Dr. J.J. Hurtak who wrote a book called The Keys of Enoch.
Right.
And in that book, he has a map that shows 12 sacred sites that ring the earth, sort of like a pearl necklace of sacred sites. The Great Pyramid of Giza is the centerpiece. Then you've got a place in Mongolia, center of the Atlantic, Hawaii, the usual kind of places. And then he shows 2 areas that he says are going to become the sort of the hot zones when the Great Awakening occurs, like people talk about in terms of the millennium and that sort of thing. One is in the Four Corners area of the U.S. The other is on a corridor running from Lexington, Kentucky to Nashville, Tennessee. Now, what's intriguing about that is what it suggests to me is that Enoch supposedly knew about these 12 ancient sites going back into the ancient world. So maybe the reason why Nashville has this stuff going on now is because a long time ago it was already known as one of these key 12 sites around the planet. And now today it's coming alive again. And we have these temples here. People come to Nashville. It's the center for Bible publishing on the planet.
Right.
Not Rome, not Jerusalem, Nashville, the buckle of the Bible Belt.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of spiritual energy here. People come to Nashville, they're like, move to Nashville, it's like, why am I here? What am I doing here? And to me, I just think that it's because of that spiritual component of what we've got going on
William,
here.
your latest book is called Revelation 2012. What's going to happen in 2012?
More of what's happening now. No, I mean, 2012 is a pivotal moment as far as a lot of people are concerned. It's the end of a 5,000-year-old Mayan calendar.